I don't need a paper.
I would like to get it in the tab. I just can't really justify it or anything other than the board.
Right.
I just want to make sure it's muted on YouTube before I walk away. And that's
fair.
why.
Because it wasn't.
That-
I never know.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. We just got our son the debit card when the kids.
The one with their picture on it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and so if he can on a device, he can check off
Mhm.
that he has completed his chores, and he'll automatically get his $5 a week a month debited to his, put to his
Right,
account.
right.
And it's supposed to help him learn financial management.
Cool.
That's it.
$5, huh?
A week?
Quite the. I agree. That's perfect.
The city's liability insurance only goes so far.
Now you just can't go out
There you go.
No, but I.
Yo.
You're very different from that camera than you do in person. You do.
I'll take it whenever.
Look at you.
And
Um,
I think it's all done now.
no,
There should be
they got two sets.
three.
Check registering too. Yeah, I didn't.
Look at it.
There should be three.
Signatures.
Just sign, yeah.
Yeah.
I believe, yeah.
Yeah, yes. That's it.
Lively birthday.
The whitest ever.
Full house then.
Yeah.
Cool thing.
Mhm, mhm.
So meeting 6 o'clock. Thank you all very much for coming tonight. I can invite you to stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You. All right, we have an opportunity for public comment. Is there anyone in the gallery that would like to address the council that on a topic that's not already on the agenda? So that's you, Chuck.
Thank you for hearing me. I also sent a copy of this to Leanna early in the week, so hopefully when she's had a chance to see that. I also sent a copy to David and Michael. Got a chance to read my email. Got a problem that's been going on for a little while that I want to bring to the attention. Not that you guys have enough on your plate already, so I thought I'd bring you one more thing to have to worry about here. I came in and talked to Ben on the night about the organizational issues regarding stormwater management in our city. And right now we've got 3 pieces of property that are basically supposed to be managed by homeowners associations, 2 of which, at least I'm aware of personally, that do not exist. I happen to live up in the Hidden Ridge area. And when Lamplight Capital turned that the management of the HOA over to a homeowners association a couple of years ago, we held a meeting, and at that time, the homeowners, and I'm not one of them, but the homeowners elected not to form an HOA. One of the responsibilities was the management of that piece of property in our CCNR is called Track A, which is the detention pond that sits at the base of right there off of Lyman Cemetery Road. I understand that there's another one that sits behind Angel Heights, and then you've got the third one that sits over here in Shenandoah, I guess. There's nobody managing it. And we got together, I guess the decision was to get homeowners over there, and some weed whackers and some brush cutters or whatever and clean it up. That happened the first year. There were at least 2 burn piles out there that never got burned. And nobody even mentioned it the second year. So obviously that's not a sustainable model, for homeowners, private homeowners to have to take care of, a piece of property that his sole purpose is to manage stormwater going into the city's stormwater system. You may disagree with me, but my way of thinking is that stormwater is a city public utility and should be managed by a public administration. Now, I don't know if that falls under the jurisdiction of sewage control or some other type of management system within the city. But the property should be probably ceded back to the city and managed. And barring that, that would be the ideal situation. Then the city has access to it. They can inspect it, make sure that it's properly functioning from 1 year to the next. Make a small assessment to the homeowners in the area to pay for the brush clearance and so forth, which would probably be tantamount to about $10 a month. That could be either added to the sewer water bill or to a line item on the property tax bill. But barring that, and I guess in the past, the city hasn't really wanted to have any part of it. We got to figure out some way to compel homeowners to form an HOA for the purpose of managing it. And I'm not quite sure how you would do that, but I would imagine there's probably a contractual obligation with the HOA to take care of that property. If they didn't do it, then the city would have a right to go in and clear it and make an assessment to the homeowners, after the fact anyway. The best way to manage that is something I want to be a topic of discussion with the city council. I want to offer my services if they're needed for any reason to do some of the legwork or the grunt work or whatever I can do to help facilitate it. If I have a point person on council that would be willing to take this project on. It's something, basically the choices are basically to do something proactive to make sure that if we got a problem with a stormwater failure, that homeowners aren't trying to figure out, well, who are they going to sue? An HOA that doesn't exist. Are they going to sue the city for negligence for not putting a system in place to properly manage it? You've got a lot of storm drains in the city that feed into one system. I don't know why they shouldn't all be under the same jurisdiction.
So it is true that the stormwater system is one of the plants that we operate. Ilana, help me out on aren't these subdivisions compelled to have HOAs? I know that when they put the subdivisions together, they're obligated to put a swale in or some sort of stormwater collection system, correct?
But again, there's nothing requiring them to be maintained as an HOA. And so I don't know any recourse if they aren't if the HOA goes defunct, which happens all the time. So
A special taxing district. Thing.
it's a Ken question. So one of the things that we're working on or we've been starting to track is time and costs for eventually creating a stormwater utility. It doesn't exist now, but it would be an added cost to the residents.
It certainly sounds like something we would want on the agenda in the future to get a deep dive into.
Ken, do you have anything?
Yeah, well, a few years ago, the state legislature recognized this problem. It's endemic in the state. And just like Liana said, we can have a requirement to form the HOA for this purpose, but then there's no mechanism, there wasn't any mechanism in place for the city to have enforcement authority to somehow compel the HOA to stay operational. And we allowed these HOAs to be formed, and then they would discontinue and quit doing anything they're obliged to do under the final subdivision approval. So a few years ago, the state legislature put teeth into enforcement of these HOA rules, but they're only applying to subdivisions that are formed after the date of that statute. So we, again, don't have a lot of teeth, but a lot of cities have this problem, and one of the mechanisms in place for the cities to control these stormwater systems is just like Liana suggested, forming a stormwater utility district and managing them ourselves. Gives you some taxing authority, gives you some control over how these things and when these things are maintained. So it's forming a new taxing district, and that's not always a popular thing to do. But we're not obliged to do that. We're not growth management, so we don't have to form a stormwater utility. we're under the 2,500 human being cap or floor for having to do NPDES for the stormwater systems. So, you know, it's a tough thing. And, you know, I think we did all the right things to try to set these up the right way, but to try to maintain them over the years has been a real headache. And, you know, the thing is, to sue them, you don't have a defendant. They don't exist. So somehow you have to have them compelled to be formed, and then you sue them, and it's a real nightmare. So I wish I had a really easy answer to this, but there isn't one.
You've got two entities that basically don't exist at this point that I'm aware of. The Angel Heights HOA does not exist. Hidden Ridge HOA does not exist.
Well, they're compelled to create a stormwater collection area, or part of the subdivision or development. But I agree with you. If those were to fail and there was legitimate in property damage, then that's the part where it's never been my problem, and now it's the city's problem. But it's never been the city's job to maintain it. So yeah, that could turn into a real mess if everyone's got hands off to that. So I don't know that we're going to be ready to. I think that you bring up a very good point, and it's something that we definitely need to consider.
Well, I come here tonight because I'm concerned about it. I acknowledge the fact that it's part of the CC&Rs that I signed when I purchased my property, that I have an inherent responsibility for it. But I'm only one of 40 property owners up there, and nobody else seems to be concerned about it. So I'm bringing it to the city's attention. It would seem to me in a growing community that the city would want to have direct access to the situation. I know that there's liability in taking ownership of anything, but we have city utilities, electricity, water, gas, all those things that are public that are within the purview of the city that they're responsible for now. I would think that the city would want to have direct access to that stormwater system, to monitor it, to inspect it, to make sure that it's taken care of appropriately, and make an appropriate assessment to the homeowners that utilize that system.
Yeah, and I think that was the tax district that Ken was referencing. So no, I agree, it's worth consideration, but worth continued conversation. So I guess thanks for bringing it to our attention. Take a closer look. Thanks, really. Yeah. Thanks, Chuck.
And then Johanna had her hand up.
See that.
I just got Chuck's first name and I didn't get the last name.
Chuck Oldfield.
This is
Thank you. That's all I needed.
Run these names for a while, and I'm terrible about name and location. All right, is there anybody else that wanted to address council before we moved on? Okay. As you can see, there have been some changes to the agenda. Moving along to the consent agenda, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
second.
First and second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
When it comes to a meeting, it's right out of the go. He's
All right, we do have a guest, Angie. You have a presentation for us?
I have quarterly updates for you.
Hang on. I was just berating myself. If you could introduce yourself, even though you are on the agenda.
Angie Weiss, Executive Director of the Sabine County Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you.
Which we very much appreciate. And so I come quarterly to kind of give you an update on what we've been up to. So this is kind of just our activities from September through December of 2022. We did add 10 new members to our organization. And we held our second quarterly membership orientation session. That's where we just introduced new members to all of the benefits that we offer and how to utilize them. And we do have next new member session set for February. Don't have the date in front of me, but if you remember, you get notices from us on when that'll be. We also did our annual membership survey in October. That is a needs assessment survey as well as a performance survey for us as to how we're performing and meeting the needs of our members. We got very good response to that survey. Members said that their top priorities were business exposure and promotion, referrals, and networking, and that the members would like to see the chamber be better catalyst for business growth. As far as government affairs go, this is something that's been new to us in 2022, but we held our first candidates forum in October. It was very well attended, very successful. We were super pleased with the outcome of that. We also held a Zoom session with the Washington Retail Association. They spoke to us about some legislation that they want to get behind and want to encourage our members to get behind regarding retail theft and public safety. We've been collaborating with the Greater Vancouver Chamber. We'll be doing going to some of their government affairs events as we've been redistricted so that we are in the same district, and they have a very active government affairs program. So I'm sure we'll learn a lot from them. We have our very first government affairs newsletter that will be going out tomorrow. And we have a luncheon scheduled with speakers for March. I think it's March 23rd. We hope to have those folks back that attended our candidates forum that won their elections to give us some updates on what they've been up to in their first couple of months in office. As far as events go, we've had 3 ribbon cutting events in the fall, which gave us a grand total of 12 ribbon cutting events in 2022. I'm pretty proud of that. Last year, the year before, 2021, we had 5, and that was our all-time high. And so we blew it out of the water with 12 this year, and that was pretty impressive. We do the easy part. The members, do all the hard part of opening a new business, and we just show up and cheer them on and celebrate with them. We held the Christmas in the Gorge event the first weekend in December. Along with that, we did some shop local promotions on social media with some fun Bigfoot videos. Bigfoot was wearing a Santa hat and shopping local, and so we got a lot of engagement, and that was fun. And we held our joint holiday open house with the Port EDC, SDA, and SBDC. And then upcoming events is our chamber annual dinner a week from tomorrow. It is open to the public, so anyone who wants to attend, you're welcome to come. That's going to be in the lodge, and we have a band, and it'll be a lot of fun. As far as tourism promotion, we've we're working on updating all of our print materials for 2023. We worked with Judy Bear on our annual guide, and that is arriving from the printer next week. So we're excited to see that. All of our brochures are at the printer, so updating all of those. We've also updated our marketing plan for 2023 and looking at some new publications to advertise in. There's some opportunities with USA Today has some travel publications that we wanted to go look at advertising in. The prices weren't bad. So we are also working with American Cruise Lines and the port on doing some FAM tours with their frontline staff for 2023 to familiarize the staff with what's available in Stevenson so they can better promote that to the passengers. And we're also working with the port on a new, I'm on a committee that the port is putting together for creating a water trail on our section of the Columbia, which is pretty exciting. And We do plan on remodeling our office this year, so I'm very excited about that. And so look for new things to come at the chamber office. The visitor center should be getting a facelift, the whole office. Just waiting on approval from the bank on our plans. So, and the other exciting news is that we have a seasonal part-time staff person that works in the summer on the weekends. She's now joining us part-time year-round, just a couple hours a week to begin with. We are sharing her with the SDA, and her focus will be tourism. So we hope to grow her position and also grow the programs and the deliverables that we provide for tourism.
So not much going on.
Not much. Pretty quiet.
And do you know if there's a BNI chapter in the area? I don't even know, but it's called a Business Networking International. It's kind of a private chamber of commerce, but it's as far I've been hearing about it through the grapevine.
Not familiar.
It's for business networking and promotion. I don't know how distinctive it is from a chamber. Okay, I'll look into it. Also, I sent you an email about an USDA grant
Oh, okay.
for your member to distribute.
Okay. Did you send it to?
No, I sent it to the generic
Okay.
chambers email.
Okay.
So look at that. I think it would be a good opportunity for,
Information.
yeah, to all members. Yeah. Yeah.
And then, wasn't you guys that put the cameras back up?
Yes. Yes. So
Made my
thank you.
mother very happy.
Yes, we finally, that was a year that it took us to finally figure out the camera situation. And we were looking to find a different location for the downtown city camera because we wanted to hardwire the connection to internet so that it was more stable. And ultimately, we couldn't find a location to do that. And so we just replaced the Wi-Fi camera on the courthouse rooftop, and it's receiving internet signal from our office. And it seems to be working really well. And so, yeah, we got 3 new cameras this year, replaced one old one, and replaced the weather station also.
When the camera went down, my mom was like, what's going on? So I had to buy a camera and put it in my living room so that when she needed her fix.
And it's a wide angle, so it shows more.
Nice.
I actually got a call too about, so what's going on? You're on city council. I didn't do the camera. Yeah, because my cousin, he's from here and he watches the camera.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are people that are very.
Oh, yeah, it was not a lot of happy people when it took us so long to replace that camera.
We get emails too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Apologize.
We forward them on.
Any other comments for Angie? You guys are doing a great job.
Yeah, and you have a question on the reimbursables. What's Skamania Lodge Co-op?
So we do, we co-advertise with Skamania Lodge. The $2,500 bill was, they do a print publication called their holiday. They do quarterly now. They have a holiday guide in the winter and a summer guide. And they list the local events and the Visit Stevenson website and things like that on their print publications. So that they send out, they also send it out via email to their entire email list, and then they print those and as a mailer. And so they list us in those publications, and we pay them partial payment for that.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm going to forward that again. What's a better email?
Angie at.
Okay.
Anyone else? Thank you, Benji.
Thank you.
Good to see you again. You're welcome to stick around.
Actually, we're gonna have a really good photo show about the wastewater treatment plant. It'll be fun. It'll be just 5 minutes.
Oh.
No, it's just, it's next.
Is it Angie at Skamania or?
That works.
Got it, we got it.
A lot of guys.
Got promo code to watch.
All right, so apparently we have a slideshow on our.
We have a slideshow.
update.
Yes.
Calm down, Angie.
Photos.
Here we go. So wastewater treatment plant. Oh, no. It's not that dramatic. So this project started, so this photo was taken back in July when they just,
Dry.
yep, nice and dry, not much of a hole. There's more of a hole. And some additional piping. This is a lot of the dewatering, which you'll see why we need. So again, just kind of looking at the overall progress of the construction through the months. And again, the varying weather conditions. That was the first snow. This is the second snow.
Nice.
There's the rain. We did. Yep. And this is what they did last week or a couple weeks ago. They poured the first pour for the base of the aeration basin. And so now we have, yay, a concrete pad. Yeah, so it's moving along quite speedily. And so now they're starting to do, I think that was the last one, yeah. Now they're starting to do the forms to build the walls. And so that's also pretty impressive looking.
My guys would love to see that video. or
Right?
the
Right, the little slide,
slideshow.
yeah, I'm like,
They would-
okay, I need to like put it all
Concrete.
together and.
Yeah,
and
to get
put
excited
it up.
about the rebar.
We have other photos of other things too, but that's the more fun one. So. Yes, thank you. You have fun? Yeah. And so as, again, more on the update, we're getting parts coming in, and things are being delivered and installed. So it's really exciting. After the concrete pour though, they will be working on a proposed schedule change. So more to come to see what that looks like. A change order for the schedule. Right. So we'll see what that looks like and what the revised timeline is. But one thing that I wanted to share, and it keeps slipping my mind and Scott keeps reminding me, is that our administrative order has been lifted. So,
Kind of a big deal.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we still have to move forward with everything
Well,
and we can't lift the moratorium yet. But it just means that we don't have to do quarterly reports really.
I got a call
So-
from Mary that she went down to check the mail and there was a registered letter that only the addressee could pick up with ID, please. Thank you. So I had to go down there, but and it was a nice letter.
You had to go all the way to the post.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it was DOE was telling us how that we had fulfilled our requirements.
Nice.
And that was awesome.
I figured, since we dug the hole, we weren't turning back. So-
At this point.
Right. And so again, once the plant gets online is when we feel that there's a better timeline or we're closer to the plant coming online is when that moratorium can be lifted, because then once that moratorium is lifted, allow for time for construction for additional buildings to get online or commercial customers. I think that's,
Exciting.
yeah.
Do we have anyone just chomping at the bit, ready to go?
Yes.
We do? Good.
Mhm.
Good.
Yeah. I think that was all that I have on that.
Well, it's very exciting, the progress we're making, but anytime we hear about delays, that's the part where I grind my teeth.
It's not
So,
as exciting.
well,
We've had
hopefully
weather.
their proposed changes aren't too crazy, but it's the biggest friction point in development in our downtown is that moratorium. So
Mm,
we need to get that worked out.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ben.
Healing Scars in Stevenson is your septic to sewer program. This document incorporates the comments that you all had the last time about, yes, we're ready to try to be a lender for this very specific small amounts program. And it expands it to any system that's within 300 feet of fish-bearing stream and adjacent and able to connect. So other additions to the document that are in front of you are the background information template contracts that we'll use to communicate with the recipients of that award. There's a map that shows the eligible areas.
Map was really helpful.
Yeah, and
As a visual, to be like, we talked about it, and we'd give an address, but that map was.
yeah, and with that, there's about 20 currently, and our estimate is that it would take about $22,000, just over $22,000. So as a total program, this would need funding for $450,000. We don't have that much into it.
What is that $450,000?
So that would be 20 homes times
Okay.
22,
Okay.
300. So if the program is successful, then you may look to add other city funds to that, but we will be promoting this as an option for development that may have some water quality impacts and that where they're looking for options to mitigate the impact that they're having, saying, hey, you can go this route like the city did too. So a way to sustain that fund without you constantly seeding it with more general fund money.
I didn't see an interest rate on there. What is the interest rate likely to be? Is that going to be?
What was it, 4.25?
I think that that's
Oh,
what it was.
okay.
It was in one of the contract. items,
Yeah.
So I think not in that.
Well, it started getting blurry when I was reading that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It's great right now.
Well, yeah, I'm not comparing it to a mortgage, but there you go.
That is ready for you, or I'm ready for more discussions. Really, I'm just ready for more discussion.
I'll make a motion. I like it.
Me too.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution 2023-402, a resolution of the City Council of Stevenson adopting a septic to sewer program entitled Healing Scars in Stevenson.
I'll second.
First and a second, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Good job, Ben.
Yes, thank you.
And a very nice acronym as well.
That kept you up at
It
night.
already has $10,000 in it.
Nice.
It's his forte, coming up in acronyms. I mean, he's the best.
So proud of you. Leon, full district on the ground.
So at the last council meeting, we discussed their request to forgive $25,000 of the $40,000. And so so council approved that request, and this is just following it up with the documentation so that we can get our paperwork straight.
I'd like the motion to approve amendment number 1 to the interlocal agreement between the Stevenson Community School District and the City of Stevenson as presented, period.
Second. First and a second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Latecomers agreement, Leona.
So a year ago this time, we did the public hearing for this latecomers agreement, establishing that assessment area. And then in order to kind of close the loop and file the latecomers agreement, there needs to be an ordinance document to then file to assess those properties. One thing I did want to bring up was that shortly after we had the public hearing and established that assessment area, a neighboring property owner requested to be added. And so I was inquiring of the engineer, what would it cost? they were busy. We were without a public works director and busy. And so what ended up happening was, without me telling the property owner how much additional it was going to cost, they threw it into the bid and the project was just extended. And so they're not included in this. They haven't paid for that extension. I talked with Ken about it over the phone, but again, I think there's miscommunication throughout all of it. And so they can't have a developer's agreement for that, which I thought they would have been able to. But what we'll be doing is we will be invoicing them separately for it, using the same methodologies that we used for the assessment here. But the difference being, they will have to pay that now without having that 40-year or 20-year.
They're aware of that.
They are aware of that.
They're good.
So it's just based
Not
on the
necessarily.
frontage, the property frontage,
What?
based on the frontage?
Yeah, so it's a combination of based on the frontage and then the square footage of the property. And that was based on a calculation that was used in another agency. And I think it's trying to determine how dividable the property is, which is why you use the area in addition to the frontage.
I like the frontage on mine.
There's one that was like
Candace and
0
mine are
or
the
a
same.
foot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but again, it makes it a little bit more fair because then it also goes by square footage, not just by that frontage. So trying to.
I
That's
move to
balance.
approve ordinance 2023-1192. An ordinance reapproving the sewer assessment reimbursement area and calculation for the main D sewer line extension in the city of Stevenson, Washington, as presented with changes as discussed.
Second.
First and a second, any other discussion? All fair side?
Aye.
Liana, traffic assessment?
So it's done. So a lot of the recommendations that were in that traffic study were included in the 6-year TIP. And so this is just the final documentation with, the appendices have all of the raw data behind the reasons for the recommendations, as well as all of the recommendations in there, as we discussed. So that's, this is just the final document for that. And I just wanted to present it and know if you had any further discussions on that.
I don't even know what to discuss after looking at that.
Right.
I was getting blurry on that one too.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting to see, they gave like the accidents and which ones were, and it wasn't what I expected exactly. So
Did you see anything of note in it that maybe we need to take a look at?
No, I think right off the bat, though, there were intersections that we weren't even thinking of. I mean, we were not thinking of 14 in any
I
way.
saw that.
With if you compared that to our TIP from prior years.
Mhm.
And we weren't necessarily thinking of the Bulldog intersection. And so that was a good.
Makes sense though now that.
Right.
that-
Yeah, oh, yeah,
that you
yeah.
read it.
Well, and that's the whole reason why we wanted to
Right.
do the study was to, what are our blind spots?
Mhm.
Bulldog's a horrible intersection.
Yes.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That totally
Yeah.
makes sense now. That you say
Right,
it out
yeah.
loud.
So, it was good and I'm glad we went through it. Sorry it took so long, but combination of, they also lost some staff and with the climate nowadays, it was hard to.
Mhm.
So.
and
It's over.
Mhm.
Liana, prosecuting attorney agreement?
So, prosecuting attorney agreement, so Adam Kick, proposed, a 12.5% increase, which when you look at inflation over the past 10 years or so, it doesn't even cover it. So,
Mhm.
it's a minor increase compared to the cost increases that
Mhm.
they've been experiencing. So.
Why has it been 10 years?
Well, every year I ask him around December and he's like, yeah, we need to look at the price. But this year we'll just go ahead. And then COVID hit. And so it was just, never a right time. So,
You ready?
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the interlocal agreement with Skamania County for prosecuting attorney services.
Second.
Any further discussion?
That just seems like we should do it more often than 10 years.
Well, yeah,
So the way we ended
Adam.
up doing it with the sheriff is doing it on an annual basis tied to the, the TPI.
Mhm.
I don't know if this is something we want to revisit in the future on this or not, but you know, maybe in the
It'd be
future.
less painful if we
Maybe
do it
before
more than
December we
every
talk
10
about
years.
Right, yeah.
However, 12.5% over a 10-year period is cheap.
Yeah.
Still a shock.
You're right, you're right.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yes, the committee and board appointments.
Has everyone had a chance to look at them?
Mhm. I saw a couple that I would be willing to be on if there's a need for it.
I'm fine where I'm at unless somebody wants to step in and.
I think your name needs to be on there more,
and
Dave.
Get on another committee. Michael.
How many on, Dave?
I don't know, but I see my name on there quite a bit.
Well, it's highlighted. You can't miss it.
I highlighted all of the council members so that you didn't have to look too far for which ones we were looking at. We haven't reached out to the people on the Board of Appeals yet. We'll
About the Board of Adjustments.
Board of Adjustments, those are all confirmed. Yeah,
Okay.
so. And while some of these, it looks like there's a lot of committees, not a lot of them actually meet.
Oh, I read that.
So-
I like this.
So-
Sign me up.
Say, damn close to zero of them meet.
Paul, are you still good with being on the Fair Board?
I haven't been to a fair board meeting.
I wanna
don't
be
even
on the
know what
fair
it-
board.
You do it.
Tell me what to do.
Well, that's taken care of.
I want to be on the fair board.
Okay, there we go. So we'll put Christie on the Fair Board.
What page does this start on? in
You're
our actual
Paul Yellow.
thing?
Sorry.
Wait,
But the public art.
yeah,
Public Art Committee?
yeah.
I'd love to be on the Public Art Committee, actually.
Done.
Yeah, that's not,
When do they
not
Kind
joke.
of
I
an
would
artsy
love,
guy.
yeah, no, I paint do all that.
Brianna?
What?
Every Wednesday, right? In the summertime?
Yeah, no, I'm
I don't
all.
know.
That's another one that I don't remember
You'll have
ever
to-
meeting.
Dave Cox.
No,
When do they meet? The fair board? It's not every Wednesday, right?
no.
Just in the summertime?
Just call Alex.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
It's the second Wednesday. Second Wednesday of the month, 7 o'clock. According to this.
Yeah, starting
that
when-
We're at.
Rock Creek
Right.
Center.
Alex is.
All of it is there.
Michael would like to be Amy's spot on the public art committee.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
And there is a public art project that's been out there dangling in the wind for years.
The Law Enforcement Contract Committee, Dave, you want to still be on that? Okay,
Seems appropriate.
yeah. And then anyone else?
He does.
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Good on you.
Tit for tat.
Okay.
Look at us taking care of business.
Right.
Um,
We don't really have this one team that meets. Do you want to stay on the shoreline plan?
Yeah.
Access plan, okay.
yeah, it's good.
Um,
As you're saying that I attended the last couple of the homeless council meetings just as a guest. I'd
Mhm.
be up for being on there if
There was,
Do you want to take that over?
I
Okay,
can, yeah.
okay.
so the planning.
Is there a
commission-
spot open? Oh, okay. You mean for you? Oh, you're getting off of it?
He would like to be on it.
The answer is yes.
Well, you know what? That's a good one because it's an hour and you're done. Like they keep it strict.
Mhm.
The planning commission annexation policy subcommittee.
Yeah, I can, if you need that, someone on that, I can.
This is just, yeah, like a 6-month-ish effort.
Okay,
So-
yeah, that makes sense.
So it's like one of those ad hoc committees.
Yeah, if you want to put my name on it,
Okay.
absolutely may.
I'm just remembering one, that I forgot to add at the staff level. Planning Commission ex officio, there's a man that lives in Angel Heights that was not forwarded for your recommendation last time we had a vacancy, but he would be interested in the ex officio. And so I will get his last name, Tony, for consideration in that.
And Paul, are you okay still being on the alternate for Ben on the EDC?
Sure.
And then these two.
The Downtown Association, does it need to be noted that I'm on their board?
Sure, as a board member, not,
Yeah.
not as a representative of
Okay.
the city.
So you better not talk for us. That's all I'm saying.
I think, yeah, you're wearing a different hat.
Okay.
Not that
Okay,
it's.
just making sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Just here to make things.
Did you get
messy.
it last name?
Well
Lawson.
done. You're up there.
Okay. So it's not Paul Spencer and David Bennett?
Well, David Bennett's in
Well, I
Arizona,
know.
so.
Yeah, the way council is treated in the past is just a bullpen of
Okay.
calling through.
Okay, sorry, so what was his name?
Tony Lawson.
Any other changes?
Looking good.
Thank you, everyone, for your commitment.
So do we want to approve this with changes, or do you want me to just bring it at the next meeting? Changes as discussed?
Because there wasn't a motion listed here, so.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Well,
Well, yeah, discussion and wrangling we would need to do, so I was trying to give a couple of meetings.
How about motion to approve committee appointments as
Discuss.
discussed and changes made?
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So as you discuss these TIB contracts, we've already shared the news that we, this is not.
It's in the budget.
Mhm.
Right.
Yes, yes.
So that's
Um,
easier.
yeah. So these were included as part of the December changes to the 2023 budget. So yeah, all of these are,
So we still need 3 motions even. though-
we still need three, because these are for the contracts.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Mhm.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll start with one here, if you're ready. Yeah, I'd like the motion to approve agreement 2-W-974-002-1 with the State of Washington Transportation Improvement Board in the amount of $144,907 for seal coating sections outlined in the segment list, period.
Second.
First and second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I wanted to say, part of the reason why we're doing this at the council level, so we, with the purchasing policy and the contract policy that we have, we could sign these, Scott and I, at least 2 of them, but because they may go over budget years.
Mm.
Right.
I'll move to approve agreement 6W 974-006-1 with the State of Washington Transportation Improvement Board in the amount of $460,422 to rebuild, resurface, and add sidewalks along Loop Road from Columbia Avenue East to the city limits.
Nice.
Second.
I like that one.
I do too.
All right, there's a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Who's next?
I will make a motion to approve agreement 2-W-974-003-1 with the State of Washington Transportation Improvement Board in the amount of $74,146 for the McAvoy Overlay Project.
Second. Dave gets it. Dave gets it.
It's unanimous. A first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Bill on design contract.
Hey, so engineering standards, we've been working on getting this through for what, 3 years now, I think.
Those guys are
It's
busy.
been on our list of things to do. It took us a while to get through the process and get an engineer on contract. And so this is, the process is that they will look at 2 jurisdictions, one of them being Washougal, and they'll compare both of the standards that both of those agencies have, and we'll discuss and kind of make a recommendation as far as which route to go. And then they will make adjustments to that based on our needs. We will also be bringing in members of the community, developers, contractors that are going through our standards and having to implement them and get their feedback as well as far as what needs to change. Bell Design has also gone through our standards on the customer side of things as well. So they've experienced some of the pain points that we have with some of the outdated references. So
A motion to approve the contract with Bell Design for on-call engineering standards update services for a cost not to exceed $80,800.
So we have a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yeah, Flow Analytics.
And so we're also working on getting our GIS up and running. And so that's what the Flow Analytics contract is for. We have a contract with AWC. We have a lot to do. And so this is to cover what that AWC contract cannot.
Mhm.
So
Okay, now this one does look for per budget year.
Mhm.
Is there a specific end date to that or?
yeah, 2025.
Okay,
So it's a 3-year.
okay, motion to approve the contract with Flow Analytics for on-call GIS services for a cost not to exceed $31,700 per budget year.
Second.
First and second. Any discussion?
Yes. I'm just curious about scope of work. There's a lot of stuff in here about travel.
We've been doing everything remote via Zoom, so they haven't had to come
Okay.
much.
Are
Don't think they come at
they
all.
working with the county?
No, not that I'm aware of. They're working with us.
Is there a reason why they're not coordinating with the county and the things that the county has already done?
We facilitated that connection. With,
We're the intermediary,
Yeah.
working with the county to get the database transferred over for them to manipulate. And s-
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
the-
I just wanted to make sure that we were pulling that information because there's a lot of 911 information
Mhm.
that's available out there. A lot of other things, so. Okay.
trying to get all the layers.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, Leona, workshop calendar.
So in your packet, there's sort of a draft workshop calendar for the workshops that we're having. That we've added. And so I wanted council to look at them because it's training for you.
Mhm.
So if there's anything on here that you would like to see, let me know that isn't already on here, or if you want to see it moved up. I tried to kind of time some things. I don't know why I highlighted those dates. But I've tried to time things with budget cycles. We're gonna
Mhm.
start looking at the budget in August, so trying to time the training around certain things.
Mhm.
Same with parking. We're hoping to kind of have that moving forward sometime. So that might switch with the Public Records Act. We'll see. But yeah.
We'll look through it. Looks good.
The goal is to, so again, we're going through our utility rates, and that study we're hoping to wrap up by the spring or summer. So that's kind of why I wanted to have that utility rate setting before we talk about that with the.
How
consultants.
often do we have to do the Public Records Act? training?
Once every 4 years. So,
Okay, I'm coming up on that.
yeah, so. And so it's both the Public Records Act and the Open Public Meetings Act, are both once every 4 years, so.
So the one in December that's listed is 4 hours. assuming we
Well,
up a little
it's
bit.
4 hours total, but I would do
One
specific
day,
sections, cherry pick what's in it, yeah.
Oh, I was
So-
thinking we could like order pizza to do 4 hours.
Well, I mean, we could if you wanted,
He's ordering pizza.
right? Well, and so the elected officials essentials, that's also, AWC puts it on a Saturday,
Hey,
December, and so we could see about hosting it here. I know they did them all remote for a while under COVID, but they also host them in specific sections throughout the state. So you get that networking opportunity as well, and they time it shortly after the election. So the newly electeds can attend. And then I also want to know if we can reschedule the February 8th workshop, because that's when the One Gorge is having their gorgeous night out. Is that Wednesday, February 8th?
when do you want to reschedule it to?
Very good question.
Day before.
As long as it's not the 3rd through the 5th, because that's my birthday weekend.
What's the meeting topic again?
Oh,
Parking.
parking.
Okay.
Will we be ready for parking on February 8th? Okay, so it'll be a parking deep dive,
But you don't want to do it on the 8th.
What about the 9th?
but we don't want to do it on.
Third, well, I am
Mine's scheduled on
gone,
the 8th.
so I'm out of the country until the 12th.
So you don't count.
don't
Thank
count.
you.
So either I
In the
don't
vote.
count or
Or we do it later.
we do it later.
I mean, we could have back-to-back council meetings more or less.
On the
If you
15th.
want to do the 15th, if you want to do
15th,
Wednesday,
16th,
Thursday, 15th,
Which
16th.
is that,
How long are you expecting it to be?
Never mind
2
then.
hours?
How many hours?
Oh, it's a deep dive.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I
plan to
Oh,
be
no,
there.
back
I don't
to
hold my
back.
breath.
yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I mean.
38.
What about,
About that Tuesday, the
about-
14th?
Valentine's. If it's-
Tuesday?
Well, what
If that's
about,
the thing.
what about the,
It'd be very nice
I mean, I-
evening.
is the
Ben-
9th not?
Ben just said planning commission. Shouldn't parking and planning commission kind of, I mean, they kind of go together a little bit. I mean, could we do it as
Well-
the planning commission meeting?
We typically
we
do
would do
things
that.
like this on a holiday, so we
I
can do
mean,
President's Day.
Okay, that's a good one.
Paul's gone on the 9th, how's everyone else?
But on the
ninth?
whatever.
Yeah.
I'm open for the 9th.
9th would work for me.
You know, Paul, there is Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will have to
Hey,
get up at
I
4
zoomed
o'clock in the
from
morning
Hawaii.
to Zoom from where I'll be.
Are we doing it on the 9th?
Okay,
You'll
Yeah, that would
send
work.
out a calendar.
yeah.
Tonight.
Yes, 9th.
Mhm.
Oh crap, I accepted it, but I can't change it.
No,
there
I
it
can-
is.
I can
Okay,
change it.
I got it.
Okay,
If you send out a reminder,
yes. Wonderful.
everything else is good.
Thank you very much for that. And also, yeah, One Gorge is having a gorgeous night out in Olympia.
So
February.
there's talks of a shuttle. It's worthwhile because obviously everybody's in session. It's worth going up and.
I don't even know what we're talking about. by the
It's an
way.
event that's sponsored by the 2 reps and the senator, and you bring various industries and businesses up to Olympia
Mhm.
and you meet with other legislators
Oh, nice.
and talk about
I
how
went once, it
important
was-
we are.
Well worth going.
Yeah.
It was-
And so, also, if there's more than a quorum of council going, I would just publish a notice, not saying that, I mean, no council business will be taking place, but
Mhm.
then,
You get to meet your legislators.
I don't know, one of them,
tell people about the other gorge,
right?
because most people
I
don't.
think the other,
Yeah.
Or they say, oh, I went to a concert there.
you're like,
Yeah.
no,
That's
no,
not
you
the
didn't.
one.
Blues and Brews, right?
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the right ride. Because I might want to have dinner after, not have to jump back on a shuttle.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's worth it. When was the last time you were up at the Capitol?
I've never
I
been
passed
to
there.
the Capitol. I've driven past it.
It's so bitchy.
It's really
I'm
cool.
up in there. It's like, wow.
So-
it's so nice.
I was on the Arkansas Homeless Coalition board so I met their in the Capitol in Little Rock a lot, and I lived there, so it was easy, to do that, but
It's
since I've been
such an
back here, I
impressive
haven't been up.
building to
I've
walk
just,
up here.
I've just driven by, I've never gone, so.
I've been up there several times with East Ledge.
Yeah.
And that in and of itself is a pretty cool deal, but
Interesting.
I can send out the
I might
email,
have to
more
look at that.
information on
Yeah, I'd like more information on
it.
that.
Yep, can do. Thanks for the little segue. Okay, comp time rollover. So we had an unusual winter storm over the holidays.
We do that.
Over Christmas, I know, right?
And then Monday that we had off.
And then, yeah, right? So, typically we don't work Friday through Monday. But everyone worked
Right.
Friday through Monday.
Mhm.
And so, not everyone wanted to take it as overtime. There were some people that wanted to take it as comp time, but we have to pay out comp time at the end of the year.
Mhm.
This is a very unusual circumstance. And so, and also because it was the end of the year, I didn't think I'd be able to get a quorum in time before the end of the year. So we do have one day. So if you don't approve this, we can still apply it as overtime but the request was to have the comp time rolled over for the first quarter. So you give them 3 months to use it. And you still, so like I said, the reason why we want to pay it out at the end of the year is so that people don't accrue all of the comp time at a lower salary and then we pay it out at a higher salary. But roughly the difference is roughly about $100.
Yeah.
So
between what? Between payout or having them take it?
between their
Their
2022
salary.
salary and 2023 salary.
So
is-
we're talking about paying it out in 2023.
And no, it would, so if you don't approve this, we would pay it out in 2022
As overtime.
as overtime,
Or
which is what our current policy
Or
states.
you would approve the comp time to be used sometime in the first quarter.
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
who's gonna cover the positions? While the person pulls the comp time.
So before, so there was.
I hate. comp
No,
time.
I understand that. But the reason why there's not more comp time requests is because I made sure that Gordy was involved in the requests. And so this doesn't represent all of the overtime that was taken. This is just a small portion. And so this is what, in discussions with Gordy, they could cover. And it represents,
Because comp
it's
time-
2 days is
Yeah.
what it represents.
Comp time costs you more money.
Mhm.
Than straight overtime does.
Mhm.
Because you have to find the replacements to do that work.
So, and this is a slower time of year. So the first quarter is typically a slower time of year because things aren't growing. There's not,
How
You
much time are we talking?
2 days. They
2
work,
days?
yeah, 2 days.
Less than $100.
They work 10-hour shifts.
Less than
Well,
$100.
The cost
The
difference.
salary increase.
Salary difference.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Motion to approve rolling over 20 hours of comp time from the winter storm in December of 2022, which must be used by March 31st, 2023.
Second.
First and a second, any further discussion?
Without incurring any additional overtime.
Right, okay.
To cover it.
Okay. Is that what you'd like to amend the motion to? Okay.
Need to do it again.
But then you make the motion. Yeah,
No, go ahead, but, yeah, I don't want to see us have to pay any overtime to accommodate that.
Is that all, does that change the equation?
No.
Okay, all right.
But someone would need to second his motion.
Then I will second his motion,
Okay, and then you'd vote on his
motion and my.
change to the motion, and then you vote on the original or changed motion.
So wait a minute. He amended the motion. We already have a second on the first one.
Right, and so he amended,
So he amended and you
Amended,
seconded his
and
amendment.
Paul seconded.
We voted to, we seconded.
All right. Any
Got that,
further discussion
Johanna?
On the second motion.
Just that we really appreciate all the time they put in clearing all the
Right,
snow.
right.
So many comments. and
Look, Johanna's got her hand up.
Our crews were out, getting salt down. Yeah, a lot of comments.
Yes, Johanna.
I'll figure it out.
You can
Thanks,
email me.
Johanna.
I got you. I wrote it down.
Ken hasn't gone off mute, so apparently we haven't gone off forms.
Not too far off the rails. We got this.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
An aye for that.
And so that was on the amendment. And so
the
now you have to
amendment.
vote on the amended original
Right,
motion.
Any further discussion on the second motion, on the amendment?
Here comes Kim.
Oh, no, on the motion as amended. You're so close, Mayor. You were so close.
Okay.
We're voting on the
Voting on the
motion.
motion as amended.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You can have Jurassic Parliament come in. They do a really fun thing with dinosaurs and stuff. So. To demonstrate exactly what we just went through.
Perfect.
Yeah. Did you have another question, Johanna?
No, I guess I didn't put my hand down.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No
I
worries.
thought I did.
Okay.
And you do an awesome job.
Absolutely.
All right, you have some informational items in your packet for your perusal.
I did get the sheriff's report. I did not include it, but I'll include it in the next.
All right,
Yes. Well, since we don't have the sheriff's report here, is it apropos to maybe have our Sheriff Wyckoff address us at all?
I was gonna have them included in the city administrator and staff.
Oh, okay, well, there you have it.
Yeah.
all right, Ben, would you like to lead us
Just
off?
saying.
If I'm not stepping on the undersheriff's stuff.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
From your strategic plan, we're working on three projects, parking as one. Ann Kazee is the planning commissioner, has really taken that on as her effort on behalf of the planning commission. So working with her to understand the landscape, giving her some of the deep dive, and she's diving into it really well. And we'll work with her to set up the public facing portion of that, what public input we need on specific portions of the parking program as it unfolds. The shoreline public access plan is the other project that we're working on. We are shooting for February the 15th as a public meeting on the consultant's analysis, first set of projects, the system that we could put in place for that. The planning effort is going to be more than that system of trails and public access spots. It's really going to be a toolkit for communicating with property owners that might one day have public access on their property, talking about the insurance liabilities or lack thereof. And then also looking sort of holistically at where there are public access points. What does that mean for the street network around it as far as parking and neighborhood impacts of that? So they've been a really good firm in their approach and everything working on this. So happy to have that one moving forward. Annexation policy is the other one. Planning Commission's working on subcommittee of their chair, Jeff Breckel and Charlie Hales, they want to do a lot of outreach to the county as we do this, because it's a relationship between us and the county residents, and that we all need to understand what page we're on with the annexation potential and what the neighborhood change might be out there. So they've reached out to the County Planning Commission to have a joint meeting between them to understand the differing visions and views and what annexation might mean in relationship to those. So that's sort of the first step before they get any farther in developing any specific policies. They were presented with, I believe we sent them to you, but we may not have, I don't remember at this point, but in the 90s and in the 70s, there were two planning commission annexation policies that were forwarded to city council for adoption, and they were never adopted. And so I think that they will do sort of a save as with those and then build from or take away from there. But we'll see as that committee goes forward. And then 4, broadband is sort of one of those that wasn't an immediate priority from your strategic plan, but it's something where there's been a lot of opportunities more recently with
It's a hot topic.
the influx of federal funding. And so we are working 2 avenues on that. There's a technical assistance grant available from the statewide broadband office to do a rapid design study. And so this, they hire the consultants, do all the consultant management, and point them to us to get some input on where are you looking to have a rapid design study performed. What we would tell them is, well,
Here.
I don't know. Yeah. Here-ish.
Hello.
And then they'll give us a project for how to do that. Those projects can then be taken to the states or federal agencies. That's a huge gap for us that we've always had in the past. Yeah, we want faster internet, but what do you need? Like, oh, why are you asking us? I don't know anything about internet.
It's your job.
Just want faster internet.
Yeah, just turn it up.
How that works.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
We want like water, just turn it up.
Yes. So that fills a huge gap. And working with the county on that. Separately, the Washington State University Extension Service is leading a public involvement effort, information gathering effort that will translate into a statewide plan for broadband. And so they're doing a lot of outreach and have a really good technical assistance manual for here's the information we need from you and what you should do to prepare that. And they also have some funding to say, okay, if you're going to prepare it, this will help you. So again, that's something that we need to work with the county for. And we'll try to work with NCED, who's been really strong broadband advocates, and they know more about turning it up than I do. So
If you need a council member in any connection with broadband related stuff.
yeah, we definitely need a community partner function in broadband as well.
Yeah.
So
Seems like we're a couple hats at those ones.
Can I buy that?
Planning and Public Works Assistant position has been advertised, and we've received several applications and doing the review between various the hiring committee review. So very happy to see that moving forward, and again, very thankful to have that additional staff member help us achieve your strategy.
And we've received many qualified applicants for that. So,
Blown away.
Cool.
yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Good.
So thanks for approving the salary scale. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more that goes into that. Yeah. That was awesome.
And
I was gonna let Tracy.
Go ahead.
You go ahead.
Oh,
Your turn.
well, those of you who don't know me, I'm Tracy Wyckoff. I'm now the acting undersheriff for the Sheriff's Department. And my goal is to attend all of your council meetings, and the main reason is to address any concerns or issues that you may have so that we can address them and take care of issues that you feel are happening within the city and make this a positive communication between us. And that we are solving all the problems that you may feel that we aren't doing and acting on your behalf to serve you the best that we can in the city. So that's our goal and our objective. If I'm unable to attend under sheriff, or not under sheriff, but Sheriff Shire will attend the meeting, but we'll make sure somebody's here to address any concerns or issues that you may have.
Perfect. Welcome.
So we're ready for any questions or anything that you may have for us.
Okay.
Watch everybody look at me.
I'm like,
He's gonna be the one that pumped it on.
It is pretty Dave.
I see this as a positive development.
I do as well. Except for the Dave part.
So I thank you.
And so we'll work on, where to put them on the agenda as well.
Yeah, I don't think he needs to sit
Sit
through
through all of it.
all of this. He should be up near the front.
Well, that was nice of him.
I'd rather have him out there doing what he's supposed to be doing rather than sitting in here. And I know that sitting in here is one of the things he's supposed to be doing, but
Yeah.
there's probably more important stuff he needs to be.
He needed to know who's gonna be on the committee, so I mean, it was kind of towards the end of the
That's
agenda anyway.
That's right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Very sort of.
It'll be fun.
Yes, it will, Mr. Cox.
A lot of love.
Spoken from experience.
So I wanted to show photos.
Oh, what?
I know this time it's not gonna look like much, but it's of the water treatment plant.
That is amazing.
I know, right? Here, let
Wow.
me share my screen now.
I'm excited if there's gonna be fish.
No fish.
Okay.
I had.
Water treatment plant.
Okay, well,
say that
I didn't
the,
know
the
if there was
lift
gonna be
station,
sewer.
Can I
treatment
finish
plant
that lift
pictures in
station?
here.
That really looks good. They did a really nice job on that.
So what are we looking at?
So this is our new chlorine injection system. And so our old one was kind of going end of life. And so this one, not only, it looks a little bit more professional, but it works better.
Yeah, before and after pictures would have
I
been.
know,
would've been
yeah,
cool.
I only got the after ones. But it looks like it's intentional.
But you can see,
So, I
you
mean,
can see the
it's-
green on the concrete and stuff, and just use your imagination.
No. And so again, just some of the guys working on the system. And we're working to make some improvements up at the water treatment plant this year. So painting the inside of it is one of them. And it needs to be done by a specialist, but you know, the corrosives kind of just, once it starts, it goes downhill fast. So.
As I implored you to take a visit down to the wastewater plant, you should also work out a visit to the water plant. It smells a lot better. And it
They
is
have
pretty
no
close, but
fish.
that's one of the things that we are steward of is the water plant. And it's cool to go up there and see what all the efforts that we're putting to it. It's cool to go up there.
So, again, just I had photos, wanted to share. And then on the Columbia Avenue project, so we have meetings every other week, and so it timed it right. We had our meeting today, and so we have the draft report for the results from the testing that they did for the realignment project. That draft report is into Ecology for their review and comments.
What, on Jack's part?
It's on multiple parts. So part of it is on Jack Clifton's property. Part of it is in the right of way, which we will then be getting rid of more or less, but we'd have to excavate and touch and disturb. And then there were also some testing done on the Hunsaker property as well. And so
Right.
kind of, and those were the only two property owners that agreed to the testing. But we did reach out to all of them to see if they wanted to participate. And I also talked with them. We discussed sort of mitigation options based on some of the results. And they're gonna come out with their full feasibility report sort of, I think, by the middle of February. And so once I kind of get that report as well, as far as the options to mitigate the results in the report, I'll then talk with the property owners, because it's difficult to have that conversation when you don't really know what the impact is gonna be, or what it really,
Or what
it
the
really means.
mitigation is gonna cost.
Right, right. And so, but it's really our mitigation that we have to do. But it's just information for them on the potential impacts that they might have to do if they were to address anything, if anything showed up on the results for that. So, yeah.
So that's February.
Yeah, middle of February is the goal for that draft.
That'll be interesting.
So yeah. So yeah, hopefully by the end of February, and in our contract with the consultants, we have a meeting scheduled specifically to have them engage when we talk with the property owners as well. So it's not just like,
Oh, that's good.
here, have fun with the report.
Right. What is this?
Right, yeah, yeah. So, so that was intentional to make sure that they would be able to ask questions, because we know that they're gonna have them. The Parks Plan grant that we applied for through the Recreation Conservation Office, they said, so they were gonna let us know December 15th. They pushed it out a month to January 16th was a holiday. And then the person that is in charge and whose email is listed, she's on vacation all week and we'll be back on the 23rd.
So we'll find out next month.
I know, sometime. I'm like, hey, what's the status? But at least now I'm not concerned that no news means we didn't get it.
Right.
But yeah. And then we have been participating in some demos for a new work order system. Last year, we saw CityWorks. We're scheduling one with Cartograph, and then I think we're also trying to schedule one with Lucidity. And that would take our GIS system and incorporate it with a work order system to better be able to provide service out in the field. And we're also trying to see about incorporating some building permitting, but I don't know how well that will integrate. It depends on, the county's going to go with a new permitting system for building, and it depends on how that integrates with the county's site. And
right.
see, we're trying to see how it all can, trying to do something that will talk with everything so that we don't have to keep entering in data.
Mhm.
Hopefully
would
all
be
of them
helpful.
will take most of them.
Right. The two, so Cartograph and CityWorks, we know, they feed each other. So EIS feeds the system and then the system feeds back to EIS. So you don't have to enter in data twice. I haven't heard about Lucity yet, but that's the goal, is so that we don't have to try to maintain data in multiple locations. So, we are working on trying to obtain a truck. We went to go through the state bid process and we're told that we don't have any vehicles allocated to us. There apparently was only one in Skamania County and it went to a fire district. So even the county can't get on the state bid. So we're looking to be purchasing a Dodge. And
What do you mean you can't get on the state bid?
exactly that, can't get on the state bid. So it's the dealers only have so many allocated for government contracts. And with the supply chain issues, those numbers have dwindled, and they don't want to increase that number because they don't make money on the government contracts. They want to sell it to the private consumer. And so because of that limited number, they're allocating only a certain number statewide
Based on population.
based on your orders for the past 5 years.
Oops.
Because we've been diligent
Which-
with our ordering over the last 5 years.
Makes no sense,
That seems
but
like-
yes,
Seems like
trust me, I talked to the state about this.
Right. No, I'm not blaming, I'm just saying that
Yeah.
it feels like it's backwards a bit. but-
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So anyway,
Leon was on the phone, several calls, which you don't hear too often. It's getting a lot of this.
Yeah, so anyway.
Dave on the phone.
So we're going through our purchasing process, which is we get 3 quotes, and we'll buy a truck. So that's what we're doing.
Good.
Yeah. So it'll be a Dodge. We have, mostly Fords, a Chevy. And so, we did talk about intercompatibility, but with the cost difference and everything, it'll be fine. I think they're fine with it. And Ben already mentioned the planning public works assistant position. And then I didn't know if Ken wanted to say anything. But I could. I mean, I sent the email out.
We saw that. email.
Do you want me to say something?
You got some
No.
explaining to do.
Just about how someone's going to be retiring. In the
Yeah,
next
no,
week.
I finally made the decision to go ahead and retire this year. It's a tough call. But I'm gonna do my best to help you guys find a successor, and I'll be here through the end of March, although I may miss a meeting or so just because I do have personal days that I've never taken. But yeah, we'll make sure you're in good hands. This is a tough decision. I've been practicing law for 40 years, and I've been your city attorney since what, 95 or so. So yeah, I don't know. It's a tough call, but I figure I have to do it now, or else I'm going to die in the saddle. So. Anyway, it's been a real pleasure to be your city attorney, and I just hope that, you know, we're able to find somebody to step in for me.
Ben, as hard as it is to watch you go, congratulations on your retirement, and no words can express our thanks for the service that you provided over the years.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, thank you all, and I'll be around for a couple of months, so we'll keep you posted.
And I'm looking forward for the book that you'll write on all.
Oh, you don't want to have my kiss and tell book. Forget it.
Is that a beard he's growing? Holy moly.
Practically retired right now.
Probably wearing loafers right now. Congratulations, man.
Thanks.
Yeah. And so the RFQ is going to go out shortly. So.
Anything else? I would entertain a motion to approve the vouchers.
Motion to approve the vouchers as presented.
First and a second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Mayor and council reports. Anybody have anything to report? for the
I
meeting?
have something to bring up. The name of the little road behind me, it's Maple Alameda, I think. It's a 1-lane gravel.
It's on our list.
It's on the list.
We've heard about that.
So
One that goes up to the water.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I use it once in a while, but not very often. Mark, who was with the city, was the primary user of that road. And as a result, since he was connected with the city and he used it, he maintained it such as it was. So he's no longer doing that. And they're building a new house back there. Now, as a result of the construction, there's a lot of heavy vehicles and a lot of traffic on it. And it's destroying it. I mean, it is. I don't know if this, well, city has some responsibility, of course. Had that construction not been going on, I wouldn't be bringing this up because it would be the same as it's always been. As it is now, it needs some attention. On the list. It needs some more immediate attention. It's
Okay, it's on the big list.
Get Mark up there.
load of gravel, something, I don't.
All right. Anyone else?
I,
Are you good? You got anything?
well, so I had a constituent, approach me, talking about, very appreciative of the, plowing jobs and all of that. But kind of the conversation progressed and he brought up the drama that we had with fireworks when the conditions were really bad about we didn't have the ability to put a pause on the use of fireworks.
Go during
Every
the 4th
year.
of July period?
Yeah.
Okay.
When it was really bad based on conditions, and city of North Bonneville, Cascade Locks have those mechanisms in place. Understanding was that it was if we wanted to have that tool in our toolbox, like we have a pause on recreational fires, that sort of thing, that it would be a year-long process to get that ball rolling. I didn't know if that was something that we needed to look at.
Thought we worked on, so if we worked with the fire chief, that we could have emergency, you know,
Every time we
Yeah,
brought
there's
it
a
up in the
bunch of-
past.
Only if you adopt an ordinance a year in
Mhm.
advance stating that they have that power. And we haven't
That's
adopted
what
it.
that is.
I think
Yeah.
what we were working on was increased education with the fireworks providers in the area and with the fire department to educate people on responsible use of fireworks.
Yeah.
if you would like to add that to an agenda, then we can.
I think the discussion is overdue.
I agree.
Well, it's just. When
It's
you
a
have
problem
heavy
every year.
snow, everybody talks about plowing.
You're right.
Yeah.
And then when you have severe dry conditions, everybody's talking about, but as soon as you
Right.
drift
that
away
season.
from those
Sure.
triggering items, then, so, yeah, we can. call it
Maybe
an
we
agenda
should
item.
look at that triggering item when it's, when we're covered in
When
snow.
Well,
it's
especially
snow.
when there's,
Yeah.
a clock that needs to be started,
Yeah.
Mhm.
because obviously we're not gonna get into this.
No.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
would be this year, it'd be next, it'd be for 2024. If we were to do,
Ken was ready to come back in. Look at that.
So, go ahead. No, I have a couple things, so no, go ahead.
I'd like to revisit what Chuck has brought up about the stormwater. Can anybody tell me if that's actually hooked up to our stormwater system? Or any of these retention ponds hooked up to our stormwater system? Or where do they go?
Eventually. So Chinadere doesn't ever touch a city-owned. Well, it's not.
I mean,
Yes.
is there supposed to be a pipe going from it to our stormwater system? Is there?
There is for Chinadere for a very short portion within Lutheran Church Road. Both of those on that side of town come down around the Catholic Church and.
So they just,
the city-
surface water coming down,
Yeah.
right? Is this one surface water as well then?
It has a drain at the end of it. It goes into the regular flood control. So it's the same, all the water goes, the street water goes into the same drains, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, but the two up there do not.
When you design a storm pond, the goal is to not change the runoff amount or frequency or periodicity from pre-development standard. And so if you have a ravine here, there was always water coming out of that. But if you cover that in concrete, water's gonna go a lot faster and it's gonna carry pollutants. And so you develop a pond,
As a buffer.
a buffer, it filters those pollutants out and it meters out how fast the water goes, but water was always going down.
Right.
And so we have various public stormwater components along the course. If these things are designed and maintained appropriately, then it's no different from what it was. Hope that answered it.
Well, I'd like to see us get that on the agenda to have a discussion about that.
Do you want to wait until Carolyn gets back to have that
Absolutely.
discussion? Okay, that will probably not happen until about May.
So, and on another note, how's Mama doing?
She was in our staff meeting this morning. It's great to hear her voice. Awesome, great. Good.
Cool.
Great. She, the idea was that she was gonna be completely dark for a while. No.
No.
That's
not Carol.
yeah, I was like, I felt like that wasn't gonna
Not
work
Carol.
that way. but-
That's right.
Good for her.
Yeah,
Well,
she's
Chuck,
like, I say she's already
we will
attending
be-
management meetings.
Working on that. Thank you for bringing that up.
So a couple things for me. I went up to a mayor's exchange in Olympia last week. And of course, it ties in with the new, with the new session. So when there was probably 40 mayors there. And the thing that I forget is that AWC is a great resource for us as a city, but they're also lobbyists. So they run up the hill and they have analysts and they look at all the different things that the legislature is looking at. But one of the things that they are pushing and that the mayors were really pushing is housing, affordable and attainable. So to a city, everyone is like, what can we do? What are we allowed to do? And obviously we're not the only ones that are having this problem. So hopefully we'll start to see something coalesce that we all have the same problems. Obviously not the same tool is going to work for everyone. It's not a one size fits all. So that was the other part of it. One size does not fit all. If we need some help from the state, we'll figure that out, but don't really want a lot of top down pressure or tools from the state. And so hopefully we can get something at the local level to start looking at building our toolbox for affordable and attainable housing. Went and spent some time with Kevin. He is duck in water. He is so happy up there. He is, and he's on the budget committee, so he sees where the money is. And he also, because he's up here, he knows how we could spend it if we had some of it. So it is very exciting to
That's
have
cool.
Skamaniac sitting at the Capitol. Cool. Really cool. And so I've been talking about this a couple times now. Currently, TAC funding cannot be used for affordable housing. But I talked to another mayor that's tourism based, and then it all started with a conversation from the mayor of Leavenworth. TAC funding is supposed to be used to promote tourism. When you have a town that is a great deal of tourism, like more than most, here's a system that requires housing for the people that make tourism possible, but you can't help them with the money that they help generate. It's linear. It doesn't circle back on itself.
Right.
So that is something that is bouncing around at the Capitol, is finding a way for us to access that money. We are fortunate in that I think that we are second in the state per capita, the amount of money that's available to us in TAC funding. So imagine having some TAC funding and being able to buy property or something like that. So
Right.
I advanced a legislative priority at Olympia yesterday or last week. So very exciting. And then we had our federal rep come through, Marie Guzman Perez. She visited yesterday, met with leaders, this downtown association, went on a walkabout through the downtown. Former Main Streeter. The Park Plaza is almost a pet project for her. So again, it's very exciting time having someone from Skamania County at the federal level. It's the first time that's ever happened. So very cognizant of rural and small business and so having that type of representation is very exciting. The unfortunate part is that it's 1 year of very aggressive and then 1 year of campaigning. So hopefully both of them will find success and then we'll see the next 2 years. And then obviously the town hall yesterday, it was interesting to hear the types of things that the residents of Skamania County is on their minds. And I'm sure that's why Marie did not shy away from the difficult questions. So it was good to see the cross-section of correct questions that were being presented. And the fact that everyone was very well behaved made for a pretty nice night. That's I gotta say. And that's it. We already did our council reports, issues for next meeting. Any other things that you guys want to bounce around for the agenda? Thank you all very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You gonna bring us something to look at next time, something interesting?